Hello everyone, Leah Dixon from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. I am here with my weekly card class to go. This week I am featuring the Bird's Eye View stamp set, and I've paired it up with some really fun colors and some great designer series paper. So I'm super excited to be here. I see some people are popping on. If you want to say hi in the comments. If you've never joined me before, if you just want to give permission to StreamYard, then I'll be able to see your name. Hi, Kim. Thanks for joining. And yeah, let's get started. I'm going to highlight my screen here and get rid of that banner for you guys. There we go. All right, and we are going to get started. So I have got our Bird's Eye View stamp set here that we're featuring, but you'll notice this one does not have any sentiments with it. So I have paired it up with the Something Fancy stamp set. It just has so many great occasions in this set, but you can of course pair yours up with any set you want, whatever occasion you need for these cards. So I'm going to put those off to the side. You'll see that I've used die cut pieces on each of my cards. I've used the nested essentials for these cards. We're using actually all three shapes. So that's the die set that I've used, and then I've paired it up with the Delightfully Eclectic. This is actually a 12 by 12 paper, but I've cut it down to 6 by 6 to be able to share it easily. So this is a really fun designer series paper. Lots of good things. Oh, thank you. Yeah, the blends are awesome. I love that rainbow. And then, yeah, this designer series paper that we're using, the Delightfully Eclectic 12 by 12. It's a bit more of an expensive pack, but that's because you actually get 48 12 by 12 sheets. So it is a lot, and great for people who like to make multiples of cards because you're not stuck with just 2 sheets of something. You actually get 4 sheets of every pattern, which means that if you've got a set that's like a favorite on both sides, you've actually got 2 full sheets of each pattern. Because I always hate that when they put 2 patterns that I love back to back. I'm like, which one do I use now? So that's everything that we've got going on. I am going to start with what is probably our most colorful card today. And I'm pretty sure this is not the order I created the PDF in, so I'm sorry if you're watching the replay later and following along with my PDF. You'll have to flip between pages for the dimensions. Because, yeah, I have all my blends out right now, and I'd like to remove some of them from my desktop. So we're going to get started with the most colorful card. This is a birthday card that we've got going on. And just a really, really sweet, fun card. And I love that black and white paper in the background. The DSP seriously goes with like so many sets. Oh, good morning, Lila. Yeah, like unbelievable how many things you can pair that up with. So let's get started by taking that DSP and some of our baker's twine. So this is a really cool, these are in color baker's twine. You actually get all 5 in one packet. Your blends would overflow off the desktop. This is just what I'm using for these cards. I actually have the beautiful Stampin' app storage for my blends, and it's great. It keeps them all organized off the table and laying flat like this, which is perfect. All right, so these are our in color baker's twines. I'm going to be using the Sweet Sorbet on this card. So I'm going to just put the others back into my jar. I just keep my baker's twines in a jar. Keeps them out of the way and easy to use. And easy to see. So I'm going to just hold that in place with a little tail there. That's what I'm going to use to tie my bow. And I'm going to wrap this around twice before coming back, holding that and giving this a little snip over here. Now you'll notice my paper bent a little bit. That's okay. We'll fix that in a moment. Because now with that wrapped, I'm going to lay it down flat on my tabletop. And when I take these two pieces, I'm actually going to make sure that I tuck under both strings before I tie my knot. So it's going to kind of pinch everything together. There we go. So now I've got a knot in there. Now I can come in, uncross these, make them straight, fiddle around, do all the things with it. Okay, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I've got it in about the right spot. And now I'll tie my little bow. Oh, good morning, Louisa. I know the colors against the black and white just pop so much. I'm always torn when I'm using my blends. Do I do a colorful background or do I go crazy with my blends? And I often try not to go crazy with the blends because I know that not everybody's like me and has like every blend at their fingertips. But honestly, if you don't have every blend at your fingertips, grab this rainbow. These are my most used colors, I would say, aside from maybe Pool Party. Add Pool Party into this mix, and these are my most used blends for sure. All right, so I've got my little bow going on there. I've got it the way I want it, and I like those, so I don't even need to trim them. You may need to trim your twine if it's like too frayed at the ends or too long or something. All right, with that piece done, we are going to just straight up glue this to our card base. There we go. So I'm just putting glue, a very thin layer of glue, along the outside edges, and then wipe off my excess into the center. There we go. Got my card base, and it seems a shame to hide those beautiful fresh freesia flowers, but that's what we're doing. All right, so that is now adhered to our card base. A marker case so you can travel with them. Oh, that's so smart. I tend not to travel with my craft supplies. I'm a little bit of a homebody. If I'm going to craft with other people, I tend to make them come here. But when I do need to travel with them, I actually find that they fit really nicely in a paper pumpkin box. So that's how I do mine when I do travel with them, which is not often. All right, so now you've got 3 of these little nested essentials rectangles, but with the rounded corners and the stitching. I absolutely love them. And we get to do some stamping. Well, actually, we're not stamping on all of them. We're going to take one of them and just set it to the side. No stamping required. Then we're going to grab our black Memento ink. We use a lot of this on these cards. And we will start. Let's see, where will we start? Let's start with our books. So we're going to take our books, ink them up. And when I stamp these books, I try to make sure that the bottom edge of the book is flat. So there we go. We've got that stamped, and we can color that in a moment. Then we're going to take our tiniest bird from our set, and we are going to stamp him right over on the far right-hand side. We want to leave lots of space on the left-hand side because we're going to put our happy birthday there. Now, this happy birthday is actually a straight line. It's not going to fit. That's okay. Just grab a scrap piece of paper, or I like to use these little mini Post-it notes. You could also just ink up a part of the word. That works as well. I'm just super lazy, so I'm going to ink up the whole thing. And then I'm going to cover up the word happy. And I'm going to come in here and stamp birthday, making sure that it's staying on my label and not on top of my bird. Could have been a lot straighter, but whatever. Now I'm going to re-ink the whole thing. I'm going to take that same sticky note, but this time I'm going to cover up the word birthday. And I'm going to stamp happy above it. So you'll notice I left a big space at the top. That's because we're going to do some overlapping, add some embellishments. It's all good. So that's how I stamp. So now you'll see I've got just those kind of on my sticky note. I can save this sticky note to do more later. And that's just kind of how I do it. So then I don't have to fiddle around with inking up half and cleaning and back and forth. All right. Now we're going to grab the cute little standing owl, one that's looking straight forward, and we're going to stamp him. And then we're going to grab his glasses. And for these ones, I like to kind of just make sure that the top of the glasses is going over the bridge of his beak. Okay, and then this little thing, I think it's meant to be a singular eyeglass side. I am going to actually straighten it out though. So we're going to kind of bend it out of shape on our block here. Make that kind of more straight. And I'm going to stamp 3 of these. There we go. All right, that is all of our stamping for this card. Oh, sorry, it's not. I can't believe that. I almost forgot. I do have a secret sentiment inside this card. I totally forgot that I did that until just now. So let's grab a block to put this on. Oh, am I all out of blocks? Yikes. Okay, we're going to steal this one. All right, so it says, I didn't forget your birthday. I'm just stretching out the celebration. And we're going to stamp that right to the inside. Sorry, guys, I know I've got another stamp on this block. There we go. So I didn't forget your birthday. I'm just stretching out the celebration. And we'll set this off to the side like that. Okay. So yeah, super, super fun one. Oh, I know. Aren't the glasses adorable, Kim? They just make these owls so sweet when you add those glasses. I love them. Okay. So all of our stamping's done. We now get to have some fun coloring. I used a lot of colors. I did not use these bottom 4. I'm going to put those off to the side for now. All right. So let's bring this in. Let's start with our sweet sorbet. So you can do these any color. You don't like the primary color look? Grab different colors. Change it up to pinks and purples. Like, have fun with it. So I just did a little bit of dark on the side of that balloon. And then I'm coming in with my light sweet sorbet and coloring the whole balloon again. And then we're going to do the same thing for this top book. I'm going to come in and do a dark edge along the bottom there. And then I'm going to color the whole rest of this book. There we go. But yeah, have fun with your colors and make it yours, make it unique. So that is all of our sweet sorbet on that card. I'm just going to start popping these out of the screen so that I know I've used them. All right, now we've got Daffodil Delight. I'm going to use the fine tip for his nose and his legs. All little wavies on his chest. A few strips on the book. I'm just using the fine tip dark. His little nose, his little legs. There we go. All right, that's our Daffodil Delight dark. And then we're going to come in with our light to color the belly. There we go. All right. Next up, we've got our Orchid Oasis. So same thing with our balloons. I'm going to come in. I'm going to do a dark strip across there and then color the rest of it with light Orchid Oasis. So these are a lot of our 2022 to 2024 in colors. I love this set. It's just such a fun, vibrant set. Okay, now we're going to take the very fine tip and I'm going to mark up all those little dashes on his wings. There we go. And then I'm going to color over top of that with my light Orchid Oasis. There. All right, and then we'll add a little bit to our books. And I am doing the light Orchid Oasis on the books. The dark I find is quite dark. This light one just has, it's a slightly purplish blue, I find. There we go. And then you can just go over the bottom edge a few times just to give it that darker look. You don't actually need the darker blend here. There we go. All right, so those are done, Orchid Oasis. And now finally Granny Apple and Tahitian Tide. So I'm going to take that dark Tahitian Tide. Again, just give a little swoosh around the side with the dark. I'm also going to give a little swoosh down here. This is their dark Tahitian Tide. And a few little bits on his wings. There we go. Then we're going to come in with our light Tahitian Tide. There we go. Top lid. Finish off that balloon. There we go. And finish off that wing. Voila. Oh, and his head. This is with our light. So just make sure that you're going around his beak. If you go over it, it'll turn it green. There we go. Voila. We've got our face colored in. So those are done. Now we just need to finish up our books and our bird. So I'm going to take our dark Granny Apple Green, come in and do a little edge there, do some of this dark bit here, and actually we're going to give one little swoosh down this side as well. There we go. And then finish it all off with our light Granny Apple. And I'm going to use the fine tip to do a bit more blending here. There we go. All right. And finally, again, try to avoid the beak so that you don't color over that nice Daffodil Delight that we got on there. Okay. And I'm going to use my fine tip again just to do a bit more blending over here. There we go. All right. He is adorable. So we have all of our bits stamped and colored. Now we just get to put our card together. I'm going to flip these pieces over and put dimensionals on the backs of them. And actually, I'm going to layer them up how I want them layered so that I'm not covering up my words or anything. And then holding them kind of in place, I'm going to grab a dimensional and use it to kind of glue the two bits together. All right. So there we go. We've got that. And then this last one, we're not going to put down with dimensionals. We're going to glue it directly down. So let's get some glue on the back of there. And then we're going to place all 3 onto our card front basically at once. So I've got glue on the back of that. I have not taken the stickies off the back of this one yet. And I'm going to come in and see where that's going to be. I'm going to then pop this one on. There we go. And then I'll peel these backings off and go ahead and put them right onto my card front. So that way you kind of get a sense that everything's going to be lined up and where you want it. So now I'm going to make sure that my bird is in line with that. There we go. I'm actually going to lower that down just a little bit. Oops. Let go. I'm not ready to stick yet. Okay. There we go. So those are all in place. Awesome. Now we get to do, sorry for those of you who don't like this, we get to do a little bit of fussy cutting. This stamp set is adorable, but unfortunately does not come with dies. Really, really sad about that. But these aren't too challenging to cut out. So I'm leaving just a tiny little white border, and I'm coming all the way in and then rounding back and all the way in. All right, there we go. Now we'll cut around our balloon. And while I am doing all this fussy cutting, I just wanted to remind you guys about a few things. We are now basically in like the last little stretch of August here. We have 1 week left of August, which means if you earned any bonus days coupons, you've got 1 week left to redeem them. So you really don't want to wait. They are worth nothing as of September 1st. So you do not want to wait to redeem those. And I know some of you earned quite a few of them. So make sure you're taking advantage of that. And what else is happening? Oh, and our kit sale. That was the other thing. Our kits are on sale for up to 30% off for the remainder of the month. And you guys, there's some really cute like Christmas crafting ones if you just need to get a little jump start on creating your Christmas cards or gift tags. The gift tag kits are so sweet. There's some awesome rainbow heart tag, or not tags, like full-blown thank you cards, and just some really, really great kits at fantastic prices. So you definitely want to check that out before the month is out, because again, those also finish up on August 31st. There we go. And if you think you're going to need help from me with placing an order or finding things, also please, if you can, don't wait till August 31st. Things get really, really hectic on the last day of the month, like really hectic. And for me this year, they're going to be even crazier because I'm also going to be back in the classroom that day. It's my one quick pop into the school before the school year starts to set up my classroom and get all the things ready. So I'm hoping I'm going to have kids with me to help and it'll go quickly, but I'm not totally sure. So, yeah. I am on full-blown holidays until then. If I don't get back to you right away when you contact me, it means I'm at the beach or we're maybe like up in the Harrison area with no cell service. But as soon as we get back in the evening, I'll get in touch with you. We've been doing some off-roading and 4x4 fun And yeah, just enjoying the last bits of summer. Oh, Mario. You know what? Fussy cutting is actually really easy when you start to get the idea that your scissors aren't moving so much as your paper is moving. And also just, practice, practice, practice. I do a lot of fussy cutting. All right, so we've got all those little bits done. Our little birdie is going to go right on just like that. And so I'm just putting a dimensional on his head, and that's about it. We're going to, if you wanted to, you could also, I'm just going to do like a little dab of seal at his bottom, just so it sticks onto the book area. But really, we don't need much to hold him in place. And I am going to position him so that he's kind of covering up our twine and he's overlapping this piece. And he's standing on our book. So super duper cute. All right. And then our balloons. Our balloons, we're actually just putting, you can use full-size dimensionals or minis. Both work on this. I have an abundance of minis right now, or maybe I don't. Oh, where'd they all go? Maybe I thought I had an abundance. I've been using them so much they're gone. Oh no, there they are. All right, so I'm just putting a mini dimensional on the back of each of these balloons. And then I'm going to do something a little bit odd. I straightened out the stamp, but also when I put these on, actually let's start with the red one. I'm going to start with the top. When I put these on, I'm going to kind of like bend the paper a bit even. Okay. And popping that red balloon on there. Then our little blue one, or Orchid Oasis, sorry. It's blue. Let's be real. All right, popping that one on. And I'm going to let it kind of go to the other string, not all the way down to the corner. And then finally our little Tahitian tide balloon. And again, I'm just bending that paper a bit, like just kind of pushing it around. There we go. So now those look really like balloons. Oh, thank you so much. Yes. So instead of avoiding practice, I've actually been doing like some psychology courses, and they say the more you avoid something, the scarier it gets. And the more you do it, the more accustomed you get to it and the less scary it becomes. So I guess it's that kind of concept of like eat the frog, get it done. And then it stops being so scary. All right. So finally, we're going to embellish with these are the in color pearls. Yeah, 2022 to 2024 in color pearls. You know what? We'll try it today. I don't know. I haven't had a lot of sleep and I haven't had enough caffeine, so I don't think I can do this just with my fingers today, but I'm not sure I can do it with the tool either. We were out way too late last night, 2:30 in the morning before we were home with all the kids. We went to see Barbenheimer. It was a double feature at the drive-in, Barbie and Oppenheimer. Both were incredible. And yeah, just a really great time, but wow, it was late. All right. Here we go. So I'm kind of using like all the colors. There we go. So just have fun with them, fill in the white spaces and plaster it. Yeah, there we go. So that is our first card. And you can see I actually did them two different directions. This one stands up this way. This one stands up this way. I prefer folding my cards always so that the V goes onto the tabletop, because if you just have the whole opening on the tabletop over time, it can fall down on you. So I don't love this way of doing them, but I do know that some people prefer that. So kind of mix and match it, mix it up. All right, I'm going to set that off to the side. That's our first card. Oh, sorry, you guys. Envelopes. I totally forgot. We won't fully decorate it, but I will do the stamping on here. All I'm going to do to decorate this envelope is give you a tiny little hint that there are some birdies in here. And actually, I didn't decorate my original envelope either, so I'm going to stamp that. And then you can color them up to match the little bird on the card front, or have fun and play with the colors. Change them up, make them different. Oh, thank you guys so much. Yeah, I knew the moment I saw this stamp set in the catalog that I needed to have it. It's funny, I'm not even like, I don't own birds or anything, but I love this stamp set. All right, so that one was super wild and crazy, bright colors. We are going to tone it down for our second card. Okay, now this one is way faster. But there is still some more fussy cutting in there. Sorry, Mario. If you're following along, there's more fussy cutting. So this one is actually, this card includes my tip of the week, which will post a photo and like the written tip on Thursday, I think. So we're going to start with some stamping, and then I'm going to show you my little tip and trick for this card. So we've got our sentiment on here, grateful for the everyday magic of you. Now, that's what I did on my original one, but I'm actually wondering if I need more birthday cards and if I might just sneak in a different stamp set here, just because I am running low on birthday cards, but I don't see a birthday sentiment jumping out at me right now. Nope, I don't. So we're going to stick with this one. All right. So I'm grabbing my Misty Moonlight. And you could use Night of Navy or really any dark blue. These papers have so many shades of blue in them, and it's just so beautiful. So grateful for the everyday magic of you. There we go, in our Misty Moonlight. That's the teacher in me. There's way too much teacher. All right, and then I'm grabbing my boho blue ink. Oh, and I realized I was playing with this stamp set yesterday before we went out, and it's got green all over it. There we go. And I'm going to use my boho blue to stamp some leaves on here. Now, where's my Designer Series paper strip? Here we go. I'm just going to grab this DSP strip so that I can kind of get these other ones in the right spot. So like that, because I don't want them to get covered up when I put this DSP back down. Go. And that one can come down a little bit lower. And this one's coming up. So what you can see is I've really just created like a diagonal across this card front. And while I've got those leaves out and my boho blue, we're going to grab our little banner. And this is from the Nested Essentials as well. And we're just going to stamp right on there. And you can see this looks a little bit darker than my sample. Some of Stampin' Up's inks go on quite dark. I freak out, and then they dry really soft and subtle, and then I'm happy. So that's what's going to happen with this. It's a little bit darker than I would have hoped right now, but it will settle. So we're all good. Okay, so that's our boho blue. We can put that off to the side. Actually, I should clean that now because I think we use it. Yeah, we do on our next card, and I don't want to forget that it's blue. There we go. Okay. So with that done, I'm going to show you my little tip and trick here. We're going to grab our scissors, and we're not fussy cutting. Yay. We will later. I'm going to open them all the way. And I'm actually going to grab a piece of scrap paper because this can make a little bit of a mess. All right, so scrap paper there. And I'm going to run this back and forth, and it's going to sound awful and feel wrong because you're wrecking the edges of your card. And I'm just like, you can see I'm making a big mess on my desktop. That's why the scrap paper is handy. I'll be able to clear that mess away quickly. And There we go. And so I'm going to do this to all 4 edges. Okay. And so it's creating like this roughly turned up edge. And what that's going to do is just give us some contrast on our card and make this layer stand out a little bit more. There we go. And one more side. So if you're worried about doing this too hard, start slow and just do it more. If you're worried about like totally wrecking your paper, just grab like your least favorite color and practice. There we go. But really, even if you bend the edges, even if you bend the corners, even if you put a little tear in it, that's all part of that roughed up look. And that's like the whole point. So you really can't mess it up. And then with that scrap paper, I was just able to shake off the bits into my compost or into my recycling bin. And we're done. A little bit more mess. It's quite messy. All right. So that's all roughed up and ready to go. So we're going to glue our DSP onto here now. I was tempted to use these yellow dots. They're so fun. There we go. And so it will have the tiniest little border on the 2 sides. Does not go all the way across. I didn't want to put it all the way across because with the roughed up edges, it would look weird having the straight edge of the DSP. And I didn't want to try roughing up the DSP. It can sometimes rip and it's a little too delicate. It can be done, but it's just a lot harder. All right, now we need, whoops, our Starry Sky Baker's Twine from that set. So this is the darkest blue. And just like we did before, I'm going to kind of pin a little tail there. We're going to wrap around twice, come back, and trim. There we go. Oh no, your paper trimmer's doing that? That's the worst. Definitely change your blade. You can also try, I haven't done it in quite some time, but I know I used to try and sharpen my blade by running tinfoil through. And I know that works on my punches. And I used to do that with my paper trimmer. Now I just, I actually have to confess I don't use my paper trimmer a lot. I still use my ancient Stampin' Up! Guillotine for most things. I wish they would bring it back because the guillotine is the best thing ever. All right, so we've got that all tied on there. Now this little piece can go on with some dimensionals. Let's see, there we go. At the beginning of the video, I think you guys could see a little bit of my office. It is an absolute disaster in here right now. I am trying to get ready for coffee and tea. Well, I do a coffee, tea, and cards class once a month with a regular group of ladies, and to trying to get ready for that, trying to get everything, like literally everything planned before back to school starts so that I don't get into trouble with that and getting things done. And it just like, holy smokes, it is a disaster in here. Okay, so here we go. Next up, our little birdie. I'm not giving him glasses this time. I almost feel like I should, but I'm not going to. We got to change it up. The next one gets glasses again. All right, so if you hadn't noticed, this is my favorite of the birds. We do use a different bird, don't worry. But this one's my favorite. I'm going to bring in those blends that I took away before. My pecan pie, crumb cake, and bubble bath. And I will bring back my Daffodil Delight just for a tiny moment. Give the nose and the legs a little go. And that kind of matches up with the yellow. Technically, that's crushed curry, I think, in this paper, but close enough. All right. We're going to use our light crumb cake. Ooh, I think this is a new one. That's nice. I love a fresh Stampin' blend when the tip's all like perfect. Ooh. I do go through a lot, like a lot of crumb cake. So I do refresh these fairly often. All right, and then our dark crumb cake for his little tuft of hair or feathers, I guess it's a bird, feathers on the top of his head. All right, now we're gonna grab our pecan pie. Oh, you know what, Kim? I would buy a second one in a heartbeat because I do often have my kids help me prep things, and it would be lovely if multiples could be done at once. The guillotines are the best. All right, and then I'm using my light pecan pie to color in the rest of that wing. So, give you guys a little secret with these birds. Have fun with the colors. I literally stamped an entire sheet of these guys and then just sat down with my blends and colored them up in like every combination you could think of, and started playing around with them and seeing what I liked with what color combos, and just like had so much fun with them. All right, so that's our bubble bath. Now we get to fussy cut again. So where are those scissors? Have I tried refilling the blends? No, you know, I'm kind of lazy when it comes to that type of thing. I have not, and because it's alcohol based, I'm not sure what I would use to refill it, because the ink refills wouldn't work. I have tried it a long time ago with the pens. I was not happy with the result, like with the markers. But with the alcohol blends, I'm not really sure how to go about that. But I'm also not worried about it. The crumb cake is really the only one. Crumb cake and Granny Apple Green are the two that I blow through like so fast. I use them so much. And a little bit the light pool party, more at Christmas time. I use that one. But otherwise, my blends have really lasted me a long time. I'm very impressed with them. And yeah, as long as I don't let my kids use them. I actually bought two of my kids their own sets because they always wanted to use mine. And they're fabulous artists, but it's just when you have 3 people using them all the time, it's a little bit too much wear and tear. All right, so here we go. I'm going to now take this and put it right on there. So I'm just going to use, you can use liquid glue. I'm just going to be lazy and use a little dab of Seal. I think it's actually Seal Plus. That came off too easily. And covering up a bit of the leaf, keeping him fully on the banner, well, fully top to bottom on the banner, and hanging off a little bit on the side. All right, with that done, we grab our dimensionals and 4 corners, and then I like to do the middles so they don't sag. There we go. And then just like that, and like that. All right. There we go. Pull those all off. Okay. Grab our boho blue card base. Stand up so I can line this up. There we go. All right, just like that. And then we're going to use the Starry Sky blends of the darker blue and pop those on to our card front, just like that. All right, now technically we're not finished though, because I forgot to stamp our inside and I forgot to stamp our envelopes. So let's grab our boho blue back again. Way to go. I cleaned up my leaves and I didn't even need to, because I am going to put just a few little leaves. Yeah, do one more there. And a little like that. A few more leaves at the top Actually, I'm going to do the whole top. Kind of like it's a little jungly scene because I can't do diagonal across this because we need somewhere to write. So we're going to do leaves across the top and the bottom. I'm feeling like we should do that. There we go. All right. So top and bottom for the inside of our card. So we're going to glue that in. And then on my envelope, I'm going to grab that scrap paper back, the one that I made the mess on before. I'm going to tuck that under and have some fun. Actually, let's just do the bottom. There we go. Just like that. We're going to do the whole thing. Why not? There we go. Whoops. Turn that around. I'm just going to fill in all the little spaces here. There we go. And like that. All right. So when we pull away, you stamp off. Oh, that's a good idea. All right. Put that away. And voila, we have our decorated envelope as well. So let's get this glued to the inside of our card. And then we will be done. There we go. There. Oops. Okay. So there's the inside of our card, front of our card, and our beautifully decorated envelope. So that's our second sweet little card. And now for our last card. And this last card was actually inspired by, I wrote it down here, Christine McNichol from New Zealand. So hers was actually just this cute little square like gift card. So I kind of changed up the sizing of it, but same concept. And so this last one, I just love it. And it's going to be a great one for the beginning of the school year. Oh, there are my envelopes. You'll notice I'm not using white on this one. This is our very vanilla because the DSP is actually not blue and white. It's blue and vanilla. So that is what I did. So I'm going to put those off to the side. And just like our last two cards before I glue this DSP down, I am going to wrap some twine around it. This time I'm using my Tahitian Tide. So you can see I really kept like, I don't know, the same format, I guess you could say, for all three of the cards. Next week we're getting a little crazy, some fun folds and stuff. This week it was just show off the cuteness of these birdies. So DSP, wrap twine around it, glue it down. And just a heads up, next week I am using the birds again. I'm not featuring the birds, but they will still be on my cards for next week. I just had too many ideas with them and loved them too much to let them go after 1 week. So this week we're totally featuring them. Next week I'm featuring a sentiment stamp, but the birdies will still be in the background. All right. So if you love these guys and want to place an order, you will definitely get good bang for your buck in terms of inspiration in how to use these guys. There we go. All right. Pop this one down, and you want your bow to end up on the right-hand side. There we go. Hopefully that was far enough over to the right. Might have to untie that and move it. We'll see. All right, that is done. So with that done, we're going to grab, and this is one of the hexagons from those nested essentials. So we're grabbing a hexagon in vanilla. We're going to get our black ink and our big branch, and we're going to stamp that right across our hexagon. So when I did this, I wanted to make sure that my branches stayed on, except on the left where it just kind of falls off the edge. Okay. And then we can get our pecan pie, and we're going to take the thin end of our pecan pie, dark pecan pie, and just color the bottom edge of that whole branch. And then we're going to take our light pecan pie, and I am using the wider tip now so I can get more coverage and color faster. And go all the way across like that. Awesome. Okay, so there's our branch all colored in and ready to go. And I'm actually going to attach it to our card front right now. So let's grab some dimensionals. Pop those on. I'm actually using a lot of dimensionals on this because I'm putting a lot of stuff at the two ends, and then we'll just keep their middles popped up. All right, there we go. And okay, ooh, feel a little bit tight. Can I scooch that over a bit? Maybe not. Okay, well, so a bit more to the, oh no, I forgot those had dimensionals on them. Whew. All right, a bit more over to the right would have been nice, but we'll just make do. It's still staying on the card front, so that's okay. We'll just have a card that's a little bit more off camber than the other one. It's all good. So we do that. Oh, I forgot to stamp my thank you. Okay, well, c'est la vie. We'll do it the hard way. So Misty Moonlight, we're going to stamp our thank you. And I am going to stamp it now before I do anything else. That way I can arrange my bits around it. So thank you. There we go. And that's in Misty Moonlight. Now, here I get to show you guys a second tip. I kind of messed that up because, you know, I put it down before I had stamped. So I'm actually going to grab, maybe I can find them, maybe not. I'm going to grab my in color. Oh, Misty Moonlight isn't an in color. Oh, there it is. It was an in color. But I am going to grab my Misty Moonlight marker. And I'm just going to come in here with my marker to fix where that stamp didn't stamp properly. So one of my favorite things to do with the markers is to have touch-ups on things that you misstamp. So it's not a problem when you don't, you know, get things stamped perfectly. We can just fix it up with our markers. So super handy that way. All right. So that's all ready to go. We need to get some stamping done now for, I'm sorry you guys, some more fussy cutting. So this time I'm using a different bird and different glasses. There we go. So stamp our bird, stamp our glasses. All right. So this one, you want to make sure his eyes stay inside the frames. It's very easy to stamp these glasses so that they go right over top of his eyeballs. So try not to do that. And then our leaves that are all blue. So let's get those cleaned up. And then we're going to stamp 2 sets of leaves. 1 and 2. Okay, that is not all of our work. Sorry, I totally forgot we're going to do our envelope as well. And I'm actually just going to do, oh, that's not my envelope, that's the inside of my card. Okay, that's fine. I can do that as well. I'm just going to do a little set of leaves in the 2 corners. There we go. Just like that. And on my envelope, I'm going to do a little bird. Set that off to the side. I'm going to grab our little bird back. Where'd he go? There he is. And I'm just going to do not even a full bird, just his little head peeking onto the envelope. Just a little peekaboo right there. And we're going to give him his glasses because he's just too cute with his glasses. All right. There we go. So he's just sneaking into the edge there of our envelope. So now we get to do our coloring. These guys are pretty quick. We need Tahitian Tide, Daffodil Delight just for that beak, and our Granny Apple back again. So there we go. So we're just going to grab our dark Daffodil Delight for our beaks and our legs. There we go. That's it. We're going to grab our Granny Apple Green. And let's see. Nope. I'm going to do a dark line on these leaves. On all of my leaves inside and on the front of my card. There we go. And then I'm going to use my light Granny Apple Green to color the rest in. On these ones that are on my scrap paper, I don't even have to be too careful about staying in the lines because I'm going to fussy cut them. On the ones on the inside, I'm actually going to go use that finer tip just so that I can for sure stay inside the lines because I'm not cutting these ones out. There we go. And turn that around. Just like that. Get those colored. So this one's a lot of coloring. If you're not a coloring fan, probably not the set for you. I don't mind coloring when it's the cuteness like this. Like, it's so adorable. All right, and then the last thing we need to do is our bird. And we're doing fully one color. So I'm going to start with my dark Tahitian Tide and do all the little accenty pieces. And then we're just doing a great big swoosh of light Tahitian Tide over top of our whole bird. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to come back and do a few more passes along his chest just to make him a little bit darker in the chest and a little bit darker on the wings. There we go. So we get a lot of variation in color on him just with using one color. And then we'll do the same to our envelope guy. There we go. Oh, and let's give him his little tuft. There we go. And a quick little pass of light. Again, remember to avoid his beak so that we don't end up with some weird green beak. There we go. All right. He's so cute. Kind of reminds me of the pigeon poking his head in. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's so nice to hear, Kim, that it's not just the recipient of the card that is getting some joy from that, that it's also the mail lady. That's so good. Yeah, I don't get to have too many conversations with our mail person because he's deaf, and I do know the tiniest bit of sign language, but really not conversational. It's more like, do you need help, and like some basic functional signs, not anything conversational, unfortunately. All right, so we've glued that to the inside of our card. We're going to fussy cut these, and I'm actually going to use mini glue dots to attach them so we don't have to worry about glue on small bits. Now, there are my scissors. So here we go. I'm just going to, these ones are super quick and easy to cut out because we're literally just following like the nice little curve of the leaf. And then I'm going to come back in the other way. I'm actually going to snip that off. Now, the trick is to not lose these while you're cutting out the rest of them. That seems to always be my issue, is I get everything fussy cut and then I can't find one or two of them. Like, ugh, frustrating. Okay. All right. So here we go. So I haven't been outside yet this morning to see how smoky it is. I'm hoping that it's not too bad and we'll be able to get out for a nice bike ride today with the kids. The smoke's been pretty bad. I even had to wash ash off of my car the other day, and we don't even live really close to any of the fires. It's a bit crazy. There we go. Yeah, and I noticed a fire started up across the highway from my parents yesterday. And I called my mom in the morning, though. It was reassuring because she didn't even know about it. And it's still pretty small. I think it's only 1 hectare. So hopefully they managed to get it under control today. Because that whole situation in the interior is getting a little bit out of control. All right, there we go. And now our bird. So I'm just going to fussy cut around his glasses. Here we go. All right. Lots of fussy cutting this week. Sorry. They really need to come out with dies for these guys. Maybe that'll be next on their list. Okay, we'll cut out the little tail here. And around we go. So I'm leaving way less of a border on this guy than I did on some of the others. He just doesn't need it. And yeah, all right. Almost done. There we go. So you'll notice that when I cut these, I do tend to cut in towards. When I've got like those tight spots, I try not to cut out away from the body. I'll just cut in twice to get those tiny areas. It just means that you have a less of a chance of bending your paper and wrecking it. All right, so there he is, all fussy cut. Gosh, he's cute. Okay, so he gets to go on with dimensionals. He's not going to have one on his head because then we'd have to double dimensional it, which actually might not be a super bad idea. But we're going to put one on his body. And yeah, let's double dimensional his head. Because, see, yeah, that'll be fully double. So to double dimensional something, you put a dimensional on, you peel the backing off, and then you take another dimensional and you pop it behind. Okay, so that's our double dimensional. And then I'll peel both of those off. So his bottom is 1 and his top is 2, because as we pop him on there we go. The other option is we could have just one on his head and none on his body, and then he'd be flat, but I wanted him to kind of pop. But then our leaves we're going to put on with mini glue dots. Okay, so I'm literally just going to pick up a leaf, put it onto the glue dot, and then peel it all off with the glue dot on the back. And I'm going to place that leaf first because that one determines that's the furthest over I can go. And then I'll just keep going. So it's a 3, 2, 1 kind of situation here with these leaves. I'm going to put 3 on the first branch, 2 on the second, and 1 on that bottom branch. Okay. There we go. So let's actually put that one in like that. Okay. Now 2, one like that, and this one. Okay. There we go. And one like that. And finally, this last one is going to kind of fall off the bottom here. And oops, turn it around like that. And there we go. Now that one is a little bit not being held on well by the mini glue dot I put on the back. So I'm actually going to just grab a dimensional for that little guy, peel off both sides, and use my take your pick tool actually to sneak it in underneath. There we go. That one should be, I'm going to use one there too. So take off both sides of the backings, and then we'll sneak that under. There we go, just for a little bit of extra support. All right, and there you have our almost finished card. We just need some in color dots, so I am using the Parakeet Party ones here. Now on this card I had more space up here. I'm not actually going to put 2 up there. I think we're going to move them. And oops, come on, come on, work with me. There we go. I'm going to actually spread these out a little bit more and kind of do my triangle a little bit differently, just to fill in where the empty spaces are. And so do it just like that. So the placement of the of the embellishments is always to do with where do you have open space, where do you think it's going to look the best. So you can see these 2 cards ended up a little bit different, one kind of more off to the side, change up the embellishments, but it's the same card. And then the fun little inside and our cute little peekaboo envelope. So that is our 3rd card for this week's card class to go. I'm actually not sure if I mentioned at the beginning how these work if you're new to my card classes. If you live in Canada, a $60 order with me will get you all the stuff you need to make 2 of each of these cards. You just need, of course, your stamp set, inks, and adhesives at home, but all the paper bits, the twine, the embellishments, everything, you'll get all of that in your kit to do these. A $70 order will actually get you a full package of the in color pearls added to your kit. And if you don't live in Canada, you can always just purchase the PDF and then grab your own supplies from your own American or wherever you are in the world demonstrator. So I hope you guys enjoyed those. Thanks so much for joining me, commenting, chatting with me. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. And if you have any questions about anything, feel free to contact me. Bye, everyone.